well, this is a project that I have been working on. It's a window, and so I got the window in. I got it partially trimmed out. This piece right here is going to be a sill. And so what I want to do is I want to make it about 6 inches wide, which is okay right here. This is at 9.5. I've got one end square. This end's right here, and I've got it marked. This edge and this edge are square to each other. I want this 50 inches, so we'll measure it from our square edge down here to 50. And it doesn't have to be exact. It can go 51, 52. So we're going to take our circular saw. In this case, it's just a skill saw. It's got 2 1/8 horsepower. I've got the depth set to just about the maximum depth. And so let's cut it. First of all, take your combination square, make sure it's tight. Go ahead and make your cut. As you can see, this edge right here has been cut with a bandsaw mill. It's pretty wavy right here in this area right here. It's extremely wavy right here. So I'm going to get my framing saw or framing square. It's got a little bit longer length to it. Makes your cut a little bit more accurate, and I'm going to possibly, I'll cut it a little bit long so I can square it up a little bit after it's cut. And I've got a carbide tipped blade on this saw right here. 7 1/4. Just a minute here. I took this device here and measured the angle of the angle that I wanted my sill to be. So you just take it like this and make sure that this area right here will not interfere with what you're going to do. And then I put it at approximately this angle here. It's very difficult to tell exactly what this angle is, but this is the proper angle for a sill. To measure the angle. And what I did was I put this up against the window, this part here, and then this was the slope that I wanted because I want the water to run off of the sill. Alright, well, I took this board and I cut it to that angle, as you can see on this edge right here. And then I'm going to square up the ends. I'm also going to sand it a little bit, and then I got to notch it. I've got to take out a portion of this area right in here, and I'll have to measure that and see what that is. But I'm going to also find the center of this long board. It's approximately 50 inches, which would be 25, but that's only approximately. I want to find exactly what the center of it is. All right, I already cut this angle here, and I measured it, and it's to this angle right here. What it is exactly, how many degrees, my guess is that it's around 20, possibly around that area, but I've already set the saw to that angle, cut it, and now I'm going to figure on where I want the notches. Alright, notching means that I'm going to take out a portion of this area right here. And what I got to do is find the center. Okay, well, now I'm going to square up this blade. So what I do is set my combination square so that it's going to work on the square principle like this, and then put it up against the plate. This is the plate here. Don't put it up against the teeth. You aren't measuring the teeth angle, you're measuring the plate angle. So I put a light behind it, behind my square, and now I can square it up. You have to sort of keep working at it till you get it right. It might take a while to get it right. That's about as good as you can get it. Well, now I'm going to show you something that I had already showed in a previous video. But I made this board. I made 2 holes in it at the bottom there. And then I drilled 2 holes in my vise and put these little dowels in there. Alright, I'm going to use that to put my board against. I've already squared up the ends. Now I'm ready to sand it. And this sander has an 80 grit belt on it. You sort of go back and forth in a sort of circular motion to sand it. Now everything I have is old and everything I have is rusty. So anyways, I got this Makita jigsaw and I have to cut an angle on these notches on one aspect of it because I'm making a sill. I want the sill to shed water away from the window. So I've got to angle it. That's why I cut this at an angle here on this side. Alright, I'm using a jigsaw because to change the angle on my bandsaw, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit easier on the jigsaw here. So, the first notch will be right here, but I want this to be 90 degrees. And so, my jigsaw is set at 90 degrees. And I make sure, because I'm going to measure it right here. That's not quite 90, so I'll make that adjustment. Okay, well, I've got my Makita jigsaw and my vise, and I measured the squareness of the blade to the foot. This is the foot right here, and measured the blade to see if it was square to the foot. Better than it was. And I did find out that Makitas are metric. So I made my adjustments, and now I'm going to make my cut. Pull it off the end of your bench and go to work. Make sure you have good lighting, all that. Okay, well, the blade wandered a little bit because this is maple, soft maple, but it's still pretty hard. I'm going to check this measurement one more time on this end and the other. I want a notch, 2.5 on one end, 3 on the other. So it's good. Now this one's going to be different. So I've got to come from this side here. Okay, well, that one is a little bit straighter. So. Alright, now this is where I've got to adjust it to the angle of the cut. Approximately 20-some degrees, something like that. There is an adjustment here on the side for your blade. Right here's a little picture of it. And I've got it set at 90 degrees. That's where I want it. As far as this blade is 90 degrees to the plate in this plane right here. It's hard to explain it, but that's how it is. Okay, now this one's going to have to be 20 degrees. And what I'll do here is mark it on the side. I've got my angle gauge set, and I'll just mark it. And then I'm going to have to change this, put this back in the vise. If you don't have a vise, you can use a clamp. It'll work. Make sure you're going to be safe, so unplug it. Put your plug up on your bench so you know where it's at. On this particular one, there's a Allen screw on the bottom, and you have to loosen it in order to change the angle. Probably, I don't know for sure, but probably you can only change the angle in one direction. I'm not sure about that. I may not be able to change the angle. It doesn't look like I can. It's unplugged, so it's all safe and everything. Oh, I see. You got to move it around a little bit. Well, I have to change it.